Thank you very much, Fahad. Thank you, Walid, and organizing scientific committee for inviting me to give this talk. Well, you know, Walid, when you talked to me, I didn't really know what to talk about. But, you know, I put something together. I hope that it's beneficial. It's a mixture of thoughts and some clinical. So, what we'll go through an overview of just a brief overview of bad experience in the kingdom and the lessons that I learned, and I want to share with you from our first case. Starting a VAD program in case A and not making the same mistakes I did, and how to reach that high reliability VAD program. So this slide was shown many times, just emphasizing on the importance of finding some kind of finding solutions for this big population of patients with advanced heart failure that need help. This is the famous Readiness trial that proved that destination therapy LVADs provides a much higher survival rate than medical therapy. This is our first patient that we did, like Dr. Fahad was mentioning. Was it gutsy? I think it was, but was it right? Now I'm like having second thoughts on the way that we started the VAD program at Prince Sultan Cardiac Center, and this is just an echo of the VAD implant, and this is so. Just let's go back to the picture here. Then this patient, he's a 38-year-old gentleman who came in with advanced heart failure. He was on dobutamine in hospital, and borderline kidneys, borderline liver. So I think the only way for him was the VAD. I put in the VAD for him. The only complications in the intraoperative or perioperative period was a return back to OR once for bleeding. Otherwise, he did well. He stayed for a month in the hospital. He went home. He was, in fact, doing very well. And then probably after 6 months of his surgery, he came to me sweating and very exhausted to the ward, and I told him what happened. He said that I didn't find a parking. I said, why are you driving anyway? So he drove his car. He went to the military hospital. He didn't find a parking, and he walked for like a kilometer in the heat of Riyadh to come to me, and he was really dehydrated and exhausted. I admitted him at that time, and I found that his LDH was high. And we did an echo, we did a TEE. There was no evidence of inflow obstruction. And really, at that point, I didn't know really what to do except just follow that LDH, and I discharged him. He came back after a couple of months, after 8 months out of his surgery, really sick. And at that time, we did an echo, and there was inflow thrombosis, VAD thrombosis. So centrifugal pumps and axial flow pumps really changed the paradigm. They shifted the paradigm in the field of MCS and giving us a higher promise of a lifetime device therapy that might come to reality soon. We're not there yet, but it might come to reality soon. This is just from the Intramax. It was shown before, illustrating that we've completely shifted to continuous flow pumps. Now, for the pump thrombosis, I just went in a little bit. I told you I'm not going to talk a lot of literature here, but you know, for the device thrombosis, I went in and saw that there was an increase in device thrombosis from the earlier cases that were done before 2011, and then the cases that were done after 2011, and it jumped from 2.2 to 8.4, and people were wondering why, and I think it was probably not diagnosed earlier enough. And now we have better means of diagnosis. In that, like in this paper, where they described the left ventricular end diastolic dimension with the VAD thrombosis, even if you don't see a clear thrombus on the inflow cannula, or you don't have that clear indications from the VAD, from the increase in the power that you're using, from hemolysis, from LDH, from whatever. If you don't see, you can see here that the blunting of response in the VAD thrombosis with the increase in the RPMs, and while you should have that decrease in the left ventricular and diastolic dimension with the increase in the RPMs, and that's something that I didn't know, and now I'm telling you that because probably of ignorance, because of me not really reaching out to and partnering with a senior institute that did a lot of these cases, I didn't know this piece of information. And if I had known it, or if the heart failure cardiologist with me in the center had known that, probably with this patient we could have saved him. Now, this is also pump thrombosis that was quite high in the heart, the HVAD, the hardware, and they managed to decrease that by 50% by titanium sintering of the inflow cannula. But you know, the reports about pump thrombosis are really not very clear in the literature, and I think this is a problem that will be eventually we will face even with the future regeneration VADs. So the lessons learned: in the first case, we did it poorly, no planning, no clear strategy. Poor patient selection, because my second patient was a case, and I got a lot of courage, more guts from the first case, because he was discharged and doing well at home. I took a patient from the CCU who had a previous cabbage, and also an inotropic support and severe advanced heart failure. And that patient died while the VAD was still working because of other problems after 7 or 8 weeks in the ICU. No real partnership with an advanced VAD or transplant center. We did not define clear quality metrics and KPIs to our program. Where do we want to be, when and how? Project milestones, as mentioned, we did not have that. Cost and financing for the future program sustainability was not there. You know, the VAD program started in the Prince Rupert Cardiac Center. When I came back from my fellowship in Vancouver, British Columbia, the perfusionist, the chief perfusionist, asked me, I have 2 devices that I don't have any idea and I don't have any clue what they are in our warehouse. Can you come and just have a look at them? And then I saw it. It's a HeartMate 2, and it was 2 there sitting there, and the expiry date was like one was going to expire in 6 months, and the other one was like in 1 year. So, you know, this was another issue that pushed me really to use those 2 devices. Should I have used them? I don't know now, but you know, probably we should have planned it in a better way. Training was not enough for the team. The lengthy team that Fahad was just mentioned, lengthy list. I had a similar list but people were probably especially in the first case, were not happy because in many cases they did not know what to do. Aligning all major stakeholders were not done as well. This is just a brief on how many VADs were done in the kingdom in the past 7 years. 20 VADs. HeartMate 2, 16 cases. There were a couple of cases before, but I didn't bring them up because I think that part of the experience was probably insignificant. So what I'm talking about is the continuous flow nowadays kind of VADs. So the HeartMate 2, 16 cases, and PSCC we did 2, King Faisal 10, Saud al-Babtain they did 4 cases, 8 for as bridge to transplant, 2 destination therapy, 6 bridge to recovery. All the bridge to transplant cases were done in King Faisal except the PSCC one, which was intended to be a bridge to transplant, but you know the patient died. We had 4 mortalities. Fahad just mentioned they did 4 cases in KFMC, and they had 2 mortalities. All the 4 cases were intended to be destination therapy. This gentleman is the Professor Allen Carpentier, and if you follow news, the last month there was a press release about the 3rd case that had the CARMAT, total artificial heart, 6 months after his surgery, and he's doing well, walking by the lake every day. The first 2 cases, both died, one after 70 plus days, the other one after 6 or so weeks, and both of them due to device complications or problems. But I think this is something to aspire. This is something that Fahad was mentioning also about the RV failure or biventricular failure. I think this is going to be the real disruption that will, in the near future, maybe we'll catch it in my generation or maybe the next generation of cardiac surgeons and cardiologists will be there when we have a device that will completely allow us to completely shy away from any other kind of therapy for advanced heart failure. Now this gentleman was lucky, and he got everything. He got an MI when he was 40 plus years old, and he got a primary PCI, and then he stents thrombosed, and he got another PCI, and then it occluded again, and he got a cabbage, and then after that he was in heart failure, and he got a VAD. He got a HeartMate 2. He stayed on the HeartMate 2 for a while, to just as a bridge to decision or candidacy, and he was at 70 plus years old. He got a transplant, and he's still ticking. You know, he's lucky. I hope we all wish that all our patients go through that course smoothly, and we want to provide all this advanced therapy for our patients. But you know, it's not that easy. I don't know why. Iron Man, it's easy. Just it takes it out and puts it back in, and the people at home do it for him. So you know, if we use a stage gate process, where we have the initiation phase, the preparation phase, the readiness assessment phase, and then that decision to go or no-go decision, and then the execution. We have the initial plan, the scale up, and of course we have to always think of independent sustainability. So we have to really start thinking from here and go down the puzzle. It's easier to solve the puzzle that way. What do we want at the end of the day? We want an independent, sustainable program that will provide care for our patients. Now, the problem here in Saudi Arabia, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, the way we do it is that we get the vendors, we buy a couple of devices, we send 6-7 people to Europe or to the States for a week of training, and then they come back. We recruit some patients with our fellow cardiologists, and then we start doing VADs. And I don't know if that's the same in other centers, but this is what I hear. And I think that way now we should really stop and rethink the process. So program objectives: using VADs to improve the survival, functional status, quality of life of the advanced heart failure patients. We want to achieve clinical excellence, device optimization strategies, like the RAM test, like what I mentioned just a while ago about the echo and how to use the echo and optimizing the device and putting strategies for that. The patient selection strategies, avoiding futile implants, avoiding those 6 and 7 Intramax scores. Device choice, the new devices now on the market, HeartMate 3 and the LVAD. They have that pulsatility. They are both magnetic levitation. They're both centrifugal pumps, and both they have the ability to add that pulsatility in the flow, avoiding the AVMs or decreasing the risk of AVMs and gastrointestinal bleeding. Continuous education and training. The team will grow. People will come into the team, newcomers, continuous education for the people, building expertise, accumulating experience. We don't need 5, 6 VAD programs in Riyadh. We probably need one, but we need a big one and a very good one, or 2. We don't need VAD programs all over the kingdom. We need 4 or 5 very strong, very good VAD programs. Cost effectiveness, building that business case, quality measurements, quality adjusted life years. Now, the WHO said that has a statement that any quality measurement of more than or treatment or therapy that costs more than $50,000 per quality is not cost effective. And then they said, no, it's up to 100,000. 100,000 is reasonable. Now, if you calculate it for VADs, it's around 200,000. So we're 100% more. So we're not conscious about that, physicians, when we talk to each other. But I think we have to think as physicians, how can we refine our techniques? How can we perfect our services so the patient costs less? And the industry as well, how can they do it in a cheaper way, providing us with good quality VADs which are cheaper. So we can help patients, because if we continue like this, I don't think that we're going anywhere soon. Preparation. Now, a lot of us, we don't really endorse or we don't keep our sponsors, our the leadership, the top leadership. We have to really get them engaged. How do we get them engaged? How is what is into the country, what is into the ministry, what is into the medical city, how we can do it in a way that how can we present our case to that top leader who sometimes is not a physician, and now our top leadership in the ministry are not physicians. How can we convince them that this program will be beneficial for the country? Now, we have to put it in numbers. We have to provide him with the appropriate data and get that sponsor engagement, choosing the director carefully. The cardiac surgeon doesn't have to be the director. Neither does the transplant cardiologist. Somebody else could direct this and orchestrate that, and every person takes care of his area. Strategic planning committee. We need on every program to have a strategic planning committee that will set the training and partnering. I believe that in Saudi Arabia we still need to partner with international institutions to get the best out of our programs. Now, this will just have an easy access. Now, if I'm in a center and I have a VAD program and I know that I can easily call Methodist just by phone or just by email, and somebody will reply to me, and there's a clear partnership with them, that makes me more secure. And my patients safer most of the time. Defining success. What is the definition of success in the VAD program? Is it we have 2 patients that are surviving till now? Is that success, or is that a milestone? When is success coming? Metrics and KPIs, procurement, financing, cost accounting. How much do our VAD patients cost now? How much is the advanced heart failure patient cost in Saudi Arabia? We don't know anything about that. We don't have data. Readiness, completely engaged and committed sponsor. That is of utmost importance. Before starting anything, we need that sponsor to be completely engaged and committed to that program. External, internal stakeholders engagement, advanced heart failure clinic readiness, hospital readiness, implantation, logistics and equipment readiness, training of all team members, proper patient selection. Then we go to the execution phase after the go, no-go decision is made. Think big, long-term, start lean and careful, extremely selective for the first few cases, celebrate success, smaller successes every time, reward team members, continuous feedback to sponsor and higher leadership, and most important is collect data and analyze. As you go, you analyze and you check yourself. Challenges, we are really challenged with patient selection. Still, Fahad was burned from a patient that he put an LVAD and then he had an RV failure. In Vancouver or here in Riyadh, we see that a lot. Low volume, we are in challenge because most of our institutes, because of that, there's no clear buy-in from the sponsor. He would probably agree on buying 3 VADs, 4 VADs, and then when it's finished, then we need to restart the process again, and that's why we have low volumes. Staff competency is difficult to maintain with that low volume. Increase awareness among primary care providers that this technology is available, and now we have a VAD number or a VAD coordinator in King Fahad and in King Faisal Specialist Hospital that collect these cases. Preparing for the unexpected, maintaining a healthy relationship with the transplant center, and that's not available. I'm sure that in any other center, if we need to transfer a patient to the only transplant center we have now, which is King Faisal Specialist Hospital, is going to be not an easy task to do, because the beds are blocked. It's difficult. It's not a piece of cake. Maintaining a healthy, maintaining the independence and well-being of the patients after discharge. This is the higher foundations of success. We have to have a clear strategy, objectives, targets, clearly defined service growth milestones, strong business case, as we mentioned, partnering with resourceful institutions, and one of the most important things that I learned it the hard way is no shortcuts. Then the least but not the last is we need to build the highly reliable VAD program where we really assure that our patients that, yes, there are advanced heart failure patients. Before we go into the Intramax 1, 2, or 3 patients, we need to really make sure that these patients, when they come to us, when we provide a VAD for them, they are safe. We have to have that anticipation part of the high reliability programs and the containment part. The anticipation, we are always preoccupied with failure. We have a big reluctance to simplify issues. We dig deep in every issue. We are sensitive to operations. We have standards, and any deviation is wrong until proven otherwise. We commit to resilience. We are resilient. We have problems. We have mortalities. We have complications, but we study them, we learn from them, and we move on. And we respect expertise and experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you.